Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in to our campus plan. This was presenting by the following people: Greg Gentry, Rhonda Stallings, David Pulizzi, and Christina Miller. Now with the four of us, we were assigned different roles, so I'd like to just explain those briefly before we get into our content. So me, David Pulizzi, I'm serving as the university president as well as the vice president for advancement. Vice president for student affairs is Greg. Greg will also be serving in another role as Vice President for Enrollment. Christina Miller will also be serving as the Vice President for Operations, as well as the Vice President for External Relations. And then Rhonda Stallings will be serving as our Athletics Director, as well as the Vice President for Diversity. So thanks for tuning in. Looking at this case study, it was important for us to think about how we would go and make decisions in order to ensure the success of Middle State College. So we started about delegating tasks out to the vice presidents to determine the best course of action. But we started thinking that every decision has to be mission critical. What I mean by that is every decision we needs to benefit us and the future of Middle State College. So we're asking questions of, is X action going to increase enrollment? How will this improve retention of Latinx students? How is X action going to enhance the overall student experience? And this is where shared governance is a critical process, and we need to be engaging both the faculty and staff throughout. Our faculty can help communicate what they're seeing in the classroom, but also how can we support them? And then finally, when we partner with staff, we can better understand the student experience. Is a student enjoying some of the classes we're offering? How would they see it? What do our surveys show upon graduating? Are students more likely to re-enroll? This can be really important to determine how we move forward and what next steps we need to take. When we were looking at what decisions to make for this case study, one of the things that we were looking at first was short-term cost versus long-term gain, meaning we started to think about who was going to immediately benefit from our decisions and then who was going to take more of a negative impact. So one of the things, for example, is if we were to decide to increase tuition, the short-term cost recipients would be our current students and the long-term benefactors would be our future students. We also wanted to focus on our strengths, not just our weaknesses. So yes, there are some things that we are going to work on, but also we have some highlights that we really want to maximize. And so I think that's really great because I think as universities are making these tough decisions about how to improve things, there's only focus on minimizing the weaknesses and there's less focus on maximizing your strengths. Finally, we needed to strike a balance between having a business mindset and a student's first mindset. So a business mindset, what I mean by that is thinking about profits and looking at our overall student yield as we look at levels of enrollment, salaries, cost-benefit analysis. Those are things that are all important. But sometimes when you are only focused and only have a business mindset, something that can be forgotten is the students. So students' first mindset is focusing on what do the students need? How can we benefit them? How can we serve them? But if we're too focused on the student's first mindset, sometimes we make risky financial decisions and we don't see the long-term impact of those decisions. So again, there needs to be a balance between the two. Hello everyone. As president for Middle State College, it's really an interesting role playing between the head authority at Middle State and then also the liaison to local government. As we went through this case study, we started to see that there was both a decrease in state allocation for funding, but there was also a strong desire from both the students as well as the community not to raise tuition. So this is where the president is going to play a really important role, being able to leverage increasing tuition. And if state authorities really don't want us to increase tuition, then funding has to increase. Unfortunately, if there is no additional funding, tuition will be increased to the students. However, what we propose is a 4-year fixed increased tuition rate at 10%. So while a student entering into Middle State College will see an increase, the tuition that they enter in with will be consistent for their 4 years. And it's really important that we have transparent communication to our student body. I think they should know that we are trying to balance a budget with limited and declining funding, and also not wanting to raise tuition. And so I think if we can be transparent with our student body, I think that's really important because they'll feel that they have a voice in the process. And the last thing on the slide is this quote that really stuck out with me, is that the president has to balance long-term patience with immediate intensity. And that really stuck out for me because in this case, the immediate intensity is going to be some of the pushback in raising tuition. However, the long-term patience has to be from the president as well as our cabinet to understand that we aren't just thinking of Middle State here in this current budget fiscal year, but we need to think about it for the next 15 to 20 years, and how can we stay ahead of the game, and that includes making tough decisions. And so I really like that balance that we are trying to strike.
Hi everyone, this is Rhonda Stallings, and I will be speaking on behalf of the athletic program as the athletic director. As we can see through this case study, that one of the bright components of this university is that we have an awesome athletic department. The basketball team has been successful and actually have been in the NCAA tournament 9 out of the last 10 years, making it to the Sweet 16 spot, so forth and so on. So I want to speak from that perspective and how we can really utilize this component in building our university. So we have a strong basketball athletic program. We also have a donor who has graciously decided to bring back our football program and to support that through funding. That money will be used for renovations of the building, the stadium, athletic facilities, so forth and so on. So having a donor to contribute to this football program will be very beneficial, not only to the athletic department, but also to the school as a whole. Community, based on this case study, that the community really does support the athletic programs at this university. I feel like that's one of our strong points, and we really need to hone in on what we do well so we can continue to engage with the community, with the staff, and with the students in this particular department. Which leads me to one of the initiatives that I decided to come up with related to the athletic program. And I will speak more about this in the presentation a little bit later, but campaigning will definitely be a highlight that we will use to not only help continue to build our athletic department, but to also help build the campus structure altogether. I do understand that the donor is only interested in contributing funds for the football program and other athletic areas in the university, and not academic related areas. So we really want to use our athletic department as a way to start a campaign that will allow the community to help fund some other initiatives that we will need to push our campus forward. And we will utilize our strong point, which is our athletic program, our basketball team, and soon football program, to help jumpstart this campaign initiative. And like I said, I will speak more about that later on in the presentation. Another highlight is that staff members are willing to get involved in any way. So part of this campaign initiative will involve a lot of our staff members to help with volunteering their time and their efforts to push this campaign initiative to reach our goals and to help the campus in moving forward in the restoration phase. Hopefully, with the campaigning initiative, we will not only have a strong and even stronger athletic department, but also improve academically with some initiatives that we will discuss later in this presentation. Hi, everyone. This is Rhonda Stones, and I will also serve as the Vice President for Diversity. Um, as we can see through this case study, that the university is its state's only Hispanic serving institution, which allows the university to receive certain federal grants if its student population remains at more than 25%. Currently, the university is at 28%, which is great. And so, as the VP for Diversity, of course, I would love to see a campus that serves Hispanic students and serves as the state's only Hispanic serving institution. Um, my concern with being that this is the case is the retention and graduation rates of these Hispanic students. So that is something that we will look into soon when it comes to why these students are not as successful as other students. So some initiatives that I have developed is to, while we are a state Hispanic serving institution, I would like to also increase more of a diverse presence on campus with both students and staff members. In this case study, I read where the university is struggling to recruit and retain quality faculty members to work in certain areas. So this will be the perfect opportunity to seek staff members and faculty members across the country that identify differently, whether it's through sex, whether it's through religion, sexual orientation, age. Having a diverse staff and having a diverse student population will benefit the campus socially and academically when it comes to learning from each other. Another initiative is to maintain our Hispanic serving status and implement more initiatives, like I stated before, when it comes to academically supporting these students and to broaden this component. One initiative would be to create leadership initiatives with these students to possibly serve as student government members, so to speak, for this board when it comes to restoring our campus. Having their input will be vital for what they see on their side as students and how we could further move forward in rebuilding this campus structure that best serve our Hispanic students and all students on campus. So, as VP for Diversity, I would like to create more of a diverse presence um, of that looks differently across the entire campus, as well as to really support and maintain our Hispanic serving institution status.
As the Vice President for Advancement, one of the key components of this role will be communicating with our alumni. And this communication needs to be clear and transparent. Our alumni need to understand what we as a university are currently experiencing, but more importantly, we will also communicate how alumni can get involved. Another thing that the Vice President for Advancement will be tasked with is establishing a current employment database for alumni, including our salary. This will serve as a recruitment tool for potential new students so they can get an idea of what alumni are currently doing, but also it can help soon-to-be graduating seniors connect with other alumni in their field.
Hi class, I'm Greg, Middle State College's Vice President of Student Affairs, and I'd like to speak with you about our role as a key stakeholder in the campus plan to get our college back on track and return to being a viable, productive, and competitive institution again. As you know, Middle State has had a significant decline in our enrollment and overall student persistence over the last decade. Our funding is reduced, and the institution's infrastructure and technologies are in great need of repair. We do, however, have two significant advantages available to us to help turn things around, though. One is a significant donor that is graciously willing to help sustain and expand our successful athletic programming, and the other is our Hispanic Serving Institution HSI status that opens the door to special dedicated federal funding and the projection that our area's Hispanic population will grow substantially over the next decade, providing us an opportunity to garner more resources while supporting our state's population. When we evaluated areas in need of improvement in the student affairs arena, because our resources are limited, we looked at areas that overlapped with other departments that our cabinet administers to, so as to stretch our resources to ensure we could reap gains in multiple areas. The two areas we chose were student involvement opportunities and student persistence. We've developed many initiatives within each area that will improve the overall university with gains in several different areas of concern. The first is student involvement opportunities. We propose creating a 2-semester Chancellor's Leadership class, CLC, made up of 30 of the university's top performing rising seniors that will participate in leadership seminars, local area philanthropy, and service projects on behalf of the university, and spearhead a mentorship program for underclassmen. The CLC will work closely with the Student Government Association, the Student Success Center, and the institution's Alumni Association. Mentored themselves by the prominent volunteer faculty and staff members, they will basically be the college's goodwill ambassadors, encouraging student involvement, which we all know leads to better engagement and academic success. The second mini initiative is revamping our current advisement and counseling resources into a more thorough and more personal and better connected Student Success Center. We want to move from a more at-request type service to a more viable, intrusive advisement model that is more proactive than reactive. We'll drop the help desk approach in favor of a model where each student is supported by a dedicated success coach that routinely checks in with their students rather than waiting for the students to come to them. Each success coach will be supported by volunteer student peer coaches to help build a wider net of support. This model has been very effective at other institutions of our size and will also increase the connection our students have to the college, thereby improving persistence. We believe these small steps will better support our students and will improve their college experience in the long run. As these programs develop, we can look to add more breadth and depth to them to continue to improve our student support. In my other job here at Middle State College, I wear the hat of the Vice President of Enrollment. In today's environment of constrained state resources, enrollment is absolutely vital to our institution's survival and success. Over the last decade, we've experienced a significant decline in our college's enrollment, dropping from an institutional high of nearly 12,000 to approximately 10,000 undergraduate students. During that time, we've seen nearly zero growth in state funding for higher education, at the same time as mounting pressure by our lawmakers to keep tuition rates low for our in-state students. This proposes some difficult questions in regards to how to balance the books while still providing high-quality education experience to our students while continuing to recruit new students that will persist and succeed academically through graduation. I believe we've developed 3 effective ways to increase our enrollment numbers while limiting the amount of funding dedicated to this effort and without reducing services and opportunities for our current students. Number 1 is our funding provided by our recently identified generous athletic donor. Part of those funds promised are dedicated towards athletic recruiting. Coordination between our enrollment staff, student success, academics, and athletics should ensure that we target scholar athletes that will not only improve our athletic standing, but also add to the richness and diversity of our academic programs. A combined group effort in recruiting from high schools should endeavor to look at all aspects of the college experience, not just athletic ability. Number 2 is the development of certificate programs where courses can be taken by students at large as well as traditionally enrolled bachelor's program students. Our institution location is in an area where there's not a local community college, leaving it fertile ground for these types of new students, even if only on a part-time basis. Current faculty could be supplemented with adjuncts as necessary to provide certificates in subjects like computer science, project management, accounting, homeland security, and a host of others. Certificate graduates could be encouraged to use their training as a feeder into our already existing bachelor's programs. This is a relatively low-cost method to increase enrollment while also increasing our support of the local community. Number 3, lastly, due to the premier location of our college and its local beauty and outdoor activities, we're a popular travel and tourist locale. We can leverage this by increasing our recruitment for out-of-state and international students. The higher tuition for the same service is tremendously beneficial, and it increases our standing and notoriety outside of our own state and region. We believe these initiatives will put Middle State College on a better financial footing, increase the diversity of our student population, and boost our institutional reputation.
As the Vice President for Operations, the main oversights include human resources, facilities management, budgets, environmental health, and parking services, to name a few. At Middle State College, there are many challenges that directly concern this area. In HR, we are dealing with a skeleton staff in many of our departments and faculty who went without a raise the year before. Our facilities are 25+ years old with no resources allocated, no annual capital budget planned, and no up-to-date deferred maintenance audit. One bright spot is the football building, having a donor willing to fund all renovations and building extensions related to the football program. Our budget has operated on a deficit for the past 2 years, and serious progress must be made with the budget to counteract the budget trend. The health and safety of our staff, faculty, students, and campus is being tested through buildings in various states of disrepair and lack of proper disposal for hazardous materials. There are many challenges that face our area, but we believe that a focus on the facilities improvement and by reclaiming our budget, positive change can be made in our area and other areas. With students and faculty that are not attracted to our facilities and safety concerns in many of the buildings as well, addressing this issue is the first priority. This cannot be continued without direct knowledge of our budget, which is why these two areas are our first areas of focus. One question that we must decide on is it enough to repair the buildings or must new ones be erected? For the Vice President for External Relations, oversight includes the following areas: public relations, advertising, social media, and photography and videography. This area is challenged by the struggles that Middle State University faces across the institution, mainly the budget deficit and a skeleton staff. There are many positive elements to our area though. With the success of our basketball team, the possible donation from the donor to renovate and add on to the stadium, and our status as the only Hispanic serving institution in the state, and the hope from the faculty and staff about working through the challenges the university faces, we have strong stories to share with potential students, their families, staff, faculty, and our community. Our focus in the coming years is on communication with our constituents, community, and campus, and positively promoting our initiatives to everyone. No step forward is too small, and all efforts to revive our university are potential ways to connect with the students and staff and faculty. Promoting our various activities through cost-effective means will be our main goal.
In addition to the different initiatives that each individual vice president will be taking, we came up with our Vision 2020. These are 3 big initiatives that we're going to be taking that is going to lead us into prosperity. So the 3 are: Because of You, They Will campaign, the Capital Capstone Project, and focus on Hispanic serving institution. And we'll get into those next. Another initiative that we have is the Because of You, They Will campaign. This campaign will be in partnership with the VP for Advancement and the VP for Diversity. This campaign will seek to raise $1 million in funds from alumni, and current students will partner with alumni. The funds will be used to create new scholarships for Latinx students. This will also fully fund the creation of a retention specialist position designed to increase the retention of Latinx and students of color. The purpose for this campaign will to increase our retention rates for students of color and Latinx individuals, and will also help cement our HSI classification. Another initiative is the Capital Capstone Projects. Students majoring in construction management, computer science, information technology, or another related major can elect to take a capstone in capital projects. Students will earn credit assisting with some of the capital projects on campus, such as improving campus facilities and improving campus internet connection. The benefits of this is that we can integrate work-based learning into a student's major while also improving our campus that is led, designed, and implemented by our student body.
As the only Hispanic serving institution in the state, it isn't enough for us to simply have this title. As the Latinx population continues to grow, Middle State College wishes to grow our supports and services. These initiatives will not only benefit our Latinx students, but all our students. We will seek the stories of other HSIs and determine programs that we would like to undertake. An initiative of this scale will require the cooperation and collaboration with many of our cabinet members and departments, including the VP for Diversity, VP for External Affairs, and VP for Operations. This will include ways to increase the enrollment, retention, and graduation rates of Latinx students. Using the funding in strategic ways, such as for new science buildings, will help bring attention to the Latinx students in STEM fields. And finally, we will work to improve the transfer of Latinx students from college to university or from university to university in the state.
How will we assess our achievements throughout this process will be very important to determine whether or not we are successful. One of the ways we will do that is with benchmarking with other peer institutions of the same size and the same demographic. That way we can compare four-year graduation rates, GPA, as well as retention rates. We will also be looking at our retention rates for Latinx and students of color over a 5-year period to determine whether or not we are improving, maintaining the same, or declining. And finally, we will be analyzing our enrollment trends. We will look at not just the numbers, but the type of student that is enrolling, whether that's a non-traditional student, students focusing in STEM, students who are first generation. This will give us a good snapshot picture of who is coming to our campus.